Welcome to the Warp. I'm Jack Rita. In this video, I wanted to talk about some games of Cosmic Encounter that I have played over the years where I won, but I never ended up using my alien power, or wasn't able to use my alien power, one or the other. And Cosmic Encounter, I think most people will agree the aliens are one of the best things about it. What makes it fun, you have a unique privilege, something that you can do to bend the rules that nobody else can do. So everyone likes to use their alien powers in the game. But for me, while that is an important part of it, I enjoy the social aspect of Cosmic Encounter, interacting with the other players, the table talk, the mind games. That's my favorite part of Cosmic Encounter. So even though I never did use my alien power in any of these games, not only was I able to win, I was able to have a really good time while I was doing it. So, and winning wasn't the reason that I had a good time. It was always a fun time for me to play Cosmic Encounter, even with no alien power to speak of. So these are presented in no particular order. It's just five stories that I could remember. The first one is from a New Year's Eve, probably close to 10 years ago. I was in a comedy troupe, and we were doing comedy shows downtown at a theater. And when we weren't performing, we were in the green room where we had Cosmic Encounter set up, and we would play games of Cosmic Encounter. And we were able to get through an entire game before we had to perform again. And in one particular game, I had the Sorcerer was the alien that I have. And the Sorcerer is a fun game. Alien's been around for a long time. Power of magic as a main player. After encounter cards are selected, but before they are revealed, you may use this power to switch encounter cards with your opponent so that they reveal the card that you had played and you revealed the card that they played. So this is it's a real simple concept. That's why it's a green alert, and it's a fun alien to play. But in that game, I was with some people they'd played Cosmic before, but not a lot. And so it was actually the first time any of them had seen the Sorcerer. And their eyes were popping out of their head. And they're like, oh, Sorcerer, this is going to be just trying to figure out when's Jack going to do the switcheroo. Well, my friends were convinced every time I was the main player that was the time I was going to switch the cards. But I never did. I never ended up switching the cards. So they were always playing negotiates or low cards, figuring I was going to do the switcheroo. And every time that I didn't do it, convinced them more and more that the next time was definitely the time I was going to do it. But I had a hand of pretty good cards. I didn't really have a need to switch. But in a couple of cases, I didn't actually have a good card. But I was convinced that they were convinced I was going to switch them. So they had played an even worse card. So that's how it worked out for me. I ended up winning that game. It's one of the reasons why it was a game that was over quick enough for us to be able to do our next set of performances. So Sorcerer is a great alien. It's fabulous, fun to play. It is fun to do the switch and to see the looks on the faces of the players on the opposing side when they realize that they have misjudged you. But you can get that great same feeling by not switching. So Sorcerer, lots of fun, great alien. This one is from a recent game, and that's why it's so easy to remember. So in Cosmic Encounter Invitational number 2, I was Invader. And I think this is probably only the second time that I've played Invader. And I cannot recall having ever used my alien power as Invader. And what does Invader do, in case you don't know? Well, the first thing is that it has 3 special Invasion Destiny cards that get dealt into the Destiny deck. And whenever another player draws it, you're actually interrupting their encounter to get to attack them. So you're getting extra encounters as Invader. But the other thing here is that as a main player, after an Invasion Destiny card or a Destiny card of your own player color is drawn, you may use this power to discard your entire hand and draw a new hand of 8 cards. And you would do this before having your extra encounter as well. So that's the use part of this alien, is being able to draw a new hand. And I've never drawn a new hand as Invader. And I'm pretty sure that both times that I was Invader, I was still on the winning side. So I was one of the 2 winners for Cosmic Encounter Invitational number 2. Spoiler alert. and Invader was my alien, but I never did get it. I was Cosmic Zapped the one time because of the invasion card, although in retrospect, I'm not sure that I could be Cosmic Zapped. But in any case, I didn't use my alien power and still ended up winning. And that was a very fun game for a variety of reasons. A lot of it was just the special guests that we had in there, Jay Little, Jefferson Crow, Jeremy Upton, playing with me and Bill Eberly, and with Peter and Greg Alaka there, kibitzing, as we say, in Cosmic Encounter. So a lot of fun. We used space stations, which I enjoy a lot, and mine was particularly useful in that game. And that was part of the reason why I never did use my alien power. Didn't have a lot of opportunity to use it, but I always had a really good hand, so I didn't want to discard it anyway. So that's the trade-off. But a fun game, a good alien. I think it's a fine alien design. I just haven't been able to leverage it at all or partake of its goodness. Our next alien is from Cosmic Con, and it's not the aristocrat there, because I did use that alien a lot. But in the semifinals, I was Judge. And this is a very powerful alien from Cosmic Dominion. You have the power of Fiat. As a main player, before encounter cards are selected, you may use this power to declare any extra gains that either the winner or the loser, but not both, will get if an attack card is revealed. These extra gains are limited by the rules for deals, so one colony where the opponent has a colony, and or cards from the opponent. For example, you may declare the winner will also get all of the loser's cards and an extra colony on any planet where the loser has a colony. This Fiat is in addition to the normal result. So you can get 2 colonies as Judge. So if you're on the offense and you declare as your Fiat that the winner will gain a colony, you get the colony if you win, and then you get the extra colony for the Fiat. So this was an alien power that I definitely was planning to leverage very effectively, because you can get a foreign colony even as a loser, even as the defense. So you can throw the encounter, and as long as one player has revealed an attack card, the Fiat goes into effect. Well, this was not an alien that I didn't use because I just didn't see the need for it. It was one because I kept getting Cosmic Zapped every time I tried to use it. I want to say that I was Cosmic Zapped 3 times. I know it was definitely 2 times, but yeah, it was every time I tried to use it. But how did I end up winning that game? Well, Bill Martinson was in that game as well, and I think that Bill felt that appeasement was going to be his best way to maximize his score in that game and give him a fighting chance of getting into the finals. So he felt that if he could just make deals with me, that I wouldn't put in a lot of effort into trying to stop him from winning. And it didn't explicitly say that, but he gave a lot of hints and clues, and because he was so amenable to making deals throughout that game, that was my takeaway. So I was also amenable to appeasement, so he and I ended up making a lot of deals, and we jointly won that game. And it was just enough points for us to make the cutoff to get into the finals. So a very crafty move on Bill's part. For me, if I hadn't been zapped, I'd have been in that finals for sure. And it probably would have been a solo win. And I'm not sure if Bill would have had a big enough score to get into those finals as well. But maybe he would have. Just depends on how everybody else was doing. But Judge is a super powerful, very effective alien. And I have been able to use it in the past, but that was one time. Never did use the Fiat, but still ended up winning the game and having a good time. We had Ace in that game, and the guy who was playing Ace came very close at the very end, but he had a real rough time of it leading up to it, because we just kept going after him and zapping him, and not cosmic zapping him, but just relentlessly working to make sure that he did not get a foreign colony before his turn started. So a very memorable game otherwise. This next one is from Dice Tower. I went to Dice Tower probably about 7 or 8 years ago in Florida. I was hoping to play Cosmic Encounter with Tom Vassell while I was there, but he was just busier than a bee, flitting around. And so I did manage to just get his copy of Cosmic Encounter as part of the, you can check games out at Dice Tower. And there was Cosmic, and he has the nicely painted ships. And I think he had a broken token organizer in the box as well. So it was all handy. So I checked that out as often as I could and played a lot of Cosmic Encounter, or I just wandered around, and if I saw people playing Cosmic Encounter, I would sit down and kibitz their games as well. So I still had a good time on there. But in one particular game, I was playing as Masochist. And I was playing in the game with 6 other people, I think. It was a large group of people playing the game. And in my opening hand, I had the attack 30 and the attack 40. And so I made a conscious decision to not worry about going for the alternate win. So Masochist, base game alien, you have the power to hurt yourself. At the start of any player's regroup phase, before the offense retrieves a ship from the warp, use this power to win the game if you have lost all of your ships, whether they're removed, captured, or in the warp. And so you can still win the game via the normal manner. So that is really what I ended up doing. I didn't ever use my alien power to try to win the game by losing. I just kept winning, and I ended up allying with the defense at clutch moments so that I could pick up reward cards that made my hand even more powerful and impressive. So from the get-go, I just went in and dominated that game. I may have also intimidated the players by telling them that I had recently won the World Championship of Cosmic Encounter. It is part of the table talk. Try to get into the minds of the other players. There were some players who thought that it was a hilarious tactic. There was one guy who was like, yeah, we've heard it before. But he still ended up having a good time. And I won that game. It was actually not even close in that particular game. And then the last one is a funny story. It was a game of Cosmic Encounter on International Cosmic Encounter Day, which is February 9th, for those wondering. And in this particular game, I was Pacifist, another base game alien as a main player. If you reveal a negotiate card and your opponent reveals an attack card, use this power to win the encounter. And if you both reveal negotiate cards, attempt to make a deal as usual. So, as you may have guessed, I never did reveal a negotiate card. I never had a negotiate card in that game, not for the whole game. Like my opening hand, I had a lot of attack cards and artifacts. I had reinforcements and flares. I went through a couple of hands in that game, and I never drew a negotiate. But I didn't let the other players know that. I let them know that I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to be able to, you better have your Cosmic Zaps ready to go because I'm going to be owning this game. And that was pretty much what I said at the beginning. So a lot of the other players were playing negotiates themselves in an attempt to make deals. But much to their surprise, when I revealed my attack card and just won the encounter, they realized this is not working it out. And everyone assumed that I was saving my negotiates for the final push. So much like with the Sorcerer story, everyone thought that I had negotiate cards, because especially later on in the game, I drew a new hand, and then I was getting more cards. And even though people were taking compensation from me fairly regularly, I just didn't have any negotiates, and I had a lot of good attack cards, and everyone else was basically throwing it. So in a couple of cases, they weren't playing negotiates, but they figured I was, so they were just unloading a low attack card, figuring, well, I'm going to lose this one, so I'm just going to go ahead and play my attack 4, and I would reveal a 12 and win the encounter. So I ended up winning that game solo without ever having a negotiate card and never needing one. And there were a couple of people who had saved Cosmic Zaps just for that occasion, yet they were unplayed. I think there were 2 Cosmic Zaps in players' hands at the end of the game. We were revealing all of our cards, and we're like, yeah, I had this flare, and I had this, and there's nothing I could do. And I was like, I had a Cosmic Zap. I figured you were going to play your negotiate and do it. And I was like, yeah, well, as you can see, I didn't have one. I never did have one for the entire game. So those are 5 stories. I would love to hear any of your stories in the comments of times that you have won and still had a good time, but never did use your alien power. What alien was it? How much were you really hoping that you could use it and didn't? And any other things, if there's other Cosmic Encounter tales that you want to hear about, let me know in the comments. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.